Hello everybody, and welcome back to another review of mine. Today I'm going to be reviewing Cobra Kai Season 3. This is like the third time I recorded this because I wasn't exactly happy with the last ones. They were done kind of in the excitement of having just seen it. So anyway, should be a little more coherent and all that. So me and my dad, we got it on the free Netflix trial for, you get a month? So we did that a few days ago. We watched 2 episodes a night for 5 days, and we finished the season. And boy, there's a lot to unpack. I definitely think it was a knockout season. Very good. The characters were progressed very well, and the setting, the scenery was good. Oh man, where to begin? I like Daniel's character, how it progressed. Johnny's character. I like what they did with both dojos. I've always been more of a Miyagi-Do fan, but just all the characters, really, you begin to understand them more. Even Kreese, everybody gets fleshed out. And one big concern I had with Season 2 was I wasn't really a fan of Daniel's wife, Amanda. I didn't really like her. I like what they do with her this season. She begins to kind of take more of a stand for her family and stick up for Daniel a little bit more. And it's not like she's blindly following him. I never wanted that. And some people say, yeah, the karate was to blame. No, Kreese was almost always to blame. Sure, some of the responsibility fell on Daniel and the kids, but one thing's for sure, karate isn't bad in itself. So anyway, I also like Hawk and Dimitri. They really did a lot of impressive things with them that I thought was very good writing, and you see a lot of changes in Hawk this season. And I'm not saying necessarily good either. So I don't, like I said, I didn't say it this recording, but spoiler free. I'll put that in the title. But anyway, Dimitri, I've always had a soft spot for because I'm kind of a nerd. He brings out this really cool looking Lego set in the middle of the season. And I was just like, wow, that is cool. I like that. Nice touch. There's enough homages paid to the 80s, with different songs and stuff. I mean, wow, it's really well done. They weave it into the story appropriately. It's not just references out of nowhere. They're very well done, I think. And, so from the trailer, Daniel goes to Okinawa, that he sees Kumiko and Chosen from Karate Kid 2. And I think that was well done. They spent enough time kind of saturating in the plots that he's involved with those two characters. I won't spoil what it is, but I think it's very well done. It pertains to Mr. Miyagi, so I'll tell you that much. And they don't spend too much time in it, but we needed to spend enough time with those characters. I'm glad they weren't just like hi and bye. We've been waiting, almost 2 years for this, so we want to be satisfying. Also, episode 9 I found, and the first half of episode 10, really tied up a lot of loose ends that I liked. It's not like they try and resolve everything, every issue, but enough things get completed to where you're like, yeah, that plot thread, I'm glad. Like, there's this talk in episode 9 that happens, and I won't spoil it. I'll just say this. Remember that talk that Johnny and Miguel had in Season 1 on the curb, where Johnny was telling Miguel his side of the story of how he met Daniel? Well, this is like the inverse to that. I like everything that was said in this conversation. I'm like, yes! That was left out when Johnny told his version of the story, but anyway. There's also this really kind of a dark moment in the middle of the season. Like I told you at the end, there's a lot of ooey gooey moments that are real sweet and very satisfying to watch, resolving all these old problems. But in the middle, there is a dark scene that pertains to Dimitri. It's kind of like, remember that scene at the end of Season 2 where Miguel and Robbie were fighting and Miguel had him beat and he decided to show mercy to him, and we know how that turned out? Well, the Cobras really, I'll put it this way, they learned from Miguel's mistake of showing mercy. But I like how his character's developed. I think it's believable. So many great things about it. Definitely recommend it. However, there's a couple of cons. The first one is, from the trailer, Kyler is coming back and is his little gang or posse, whatever. Well, trailer may not have showed them, but is it really a surprise that they're going to be coming back with him? But see, I'm not a fan of this. I like how in Season 1, he was just like a little antagonist to kind of get Miguel on his way. He was going to beat him up in episode 1, but Johnny saved him. Then Miguel started training until season 3 when Kyler did beat him up. Then he kept on training till season 5 when he beat Kyler up and all his thugs in the cafeteria. And then a couple times after that in the season, Kyler sees Miguel and you can tell he's scared of him. He's kind of just shrinks back, and I thought that was a good way. And just ease him out, and that's the end. But then he comes back, and at first, like when I was watching it, it seemed cool, some of the scenes he was in. But afterwards I thought, you know, that screen time could have gone to about anybody else. Like, I wanted to see a little more with Robbie. I'll touch on him in just a minute. But the stuff with Kyler, I don't know if it was very fitting, or that it went very well. Especially during the, I don't want to spoil too much, but when he gets involved in some of the conflict at the end, I think just bringing him back makes it kind of redundant in some ways. It doesn't make sense. Because after him getting beat by Rhea, remember that's what he called Miguel, doesn't make sense that he would just try and get back into the fight scene. I don't want to say too much. But anyway, so my other problem was Robbie. I don't know if this is really a problem. I'm glad of what they, I think for what they were going for, you can tell. I think some of the projections, they knew what they wanted to do with these characters, and it was done very well. But, yeah, I like some of this. He has a couple fight scenes, and they're cool. In Juvie, you know, he's in there we saw in the trailer. But, when I tell you what happens to him, it's really something. He's definitely not resolved. A lot of the characters, they fix a lot of things, or at least they change. I'll say that because I don't want to spoil too much. So these characters, they go through a lot. But him especially, he didn't go where I thought he was going to go in this season by the end. Well, it's really surprising. So, definitely unresolved. A lot of, he has not really found his peace. But, so that was good. Subverting expectations. I think it was done real well. But one problem I had is, every scene he has with other people, it's almost like people forgot that he put Miguel in the hospital. I think Hawk mentions it to Sam once. Oh, so that's another thing I'll touch on in a minute. Sam, that's a pro, another pro I forgot. But and then Tori gets a little upset with Robbie for hurting Miguel, and then she doesn't, and then she starts to like Robbie. It's weird, I tell you. I don't want to spoil it too much, like I said, but it doesn't make sense. Nobody expects him to be sorry or anything. He's had some conversations with the other characters, and it's almost like he expects to be apologized to. And, I mean, maybe some of them did a couple wrong things to him. I don't want to spoil too much about what happens here. But not only does he expect so much more than I think he deserves from them. I mean, I like Robbie. I always have. Even after people hated him in season 1 for some reason. And okay, season 2, I can understand you for hating him for what he did at the end of season 2. But I always liked him. I think he has potential. He still does. But anyway, they just kind of, when he gets mad at them, they just kind of seem to take it. They're not even like, hey, you need to apologize to Miguel. Like, it's never brought up. But, anyway, Sam, I like this little subplot that they have with her. I think it could have been done a little better. It's a message about fear that's kind of done throughout without spoiling too much about, like, who she's afraid of or what she's afraid of. But it's done well. Daniel has this little pep talk for her that I thought was a great callback. Not going to get into specifics, but it's this kind of fear subplot that I've dealt with fear that just kind of paralyzed me. We probably all have, where you can't move as surely as Miguel couldn't move from that wheelchair for a while. But eventually you all have to move. So that was a very good point. I don't want to get into specifics, but I think you probably like it. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll think it's dumb. Anyway, the settings were good. Oh, just a second. I'll be right there. Anyway, sorry, I was called away for a second. Then I came back to sit here in my chair here. I stumbled back. I almost... Crazy stuff happens when I'm recording. Anyway, definitely check out the season. You're probably going to like it. And until next time, remember, guys, keep the balance in your life. Keep your balance. God bless.